In the late 19th century, a man named Rahimat would pack sacks of almonds and raisins, leave his home in the snowy mountains of Afghanistan, and walk all the way to the streets of Kolkata. He was the Kabuliwala, a traveling merchant who formed a famous friendship with a local Indian girl named Minnie. Rahimat's journey reflects an era when the region was defined by the movement of people, rather than the enforcement of political lines. Families, traders, and travelers created shared memories across these zones, moving through the landscape long before modern checkpoints existed. To understand these connections today, we have to look at how the region is built. India sits at the crossroads of Asia. Its landmass forms a massive peninsula that pushes into the Indian Ocean, serving as a physical bridge across the continent. This geography places India in contact with two distinct groups. To the north, east, and west, it shares land boundaries with 7 countries, including China, Pakistan, and Bangladesh. To the south, across the water, lie maritime neighbors like Sri Lanka and the Maldives. While these nations are close in distance, geographic proximity is only one part of the story. This is the core of geopolitics, the study of how a country's physical location and environment influence its international relationships. The mountains, rivers, and oceans surrounding the subcontinent serve 2 purposes. Depending on the political climate, these features function as either severe walls dividing nations or even as natural pathways connecting them. For centuries, geography worked as a connector. Merchants and monks navigated the treacherous Himalayan passes of the ancient Silk Road, carrying goods, art, and Buddhist teachings from India deep into China and across Southeast Asia. The impact of those journeys is still visible today. On the Indonesian island of Java, the massive 9th century Borobudur temple stands in the shape of a mandala, directly reflecting the spiritual and architectural ideas that sailed over from the Indian coast. In the ancient world, people utilized imposing features, from open oceans to towering peaks, as shared pathways for cultural evolution. That fluid movement changed with the 1947 partition. A colonial-era line was drawn across the subcontinent, abruptly dividing shared lands. The end result was massive displacement that affected millions of people and created geopolitical tensions that continue to this day. Over time, these landscapes became militarized frontiers. Today, boundaries with Pakistan and China are formalized zones, where even a daily flag-lowering ceremony requires strict, coordinated military choreography. Modern history transformed these natural landscapes into rigid geopolitical barriers that now require complex diplomacy to navigate. Even so, diplomacy often finds ways to work around these walls. The Kartarpur corridor allows pilgrims to cross into Pakistan visa-free, and every autumn, boats from India and Bangladesh meet in the shared Ichamati River for ceremonies, side by side. To the north, the border with Nepal remains completely open. Citizens cross freely for work, education, and worship, sustaining vital cultural links at sites like Kathmandu's Pashupatinath Temple, where priests have traditionally been chosen from communities in southern India. In the mountains of Bhutan, India acts as a primary ally and investor. This partnership supports an economy that measures its progress through gross national happiness, a philosophy that prioritizes environmental sustainability and cultural well-being. To the east, Myanmar serves as a physical gateway. India's Act East policy uses this border to build economic bridges with the expanding markets of Southeast Asia. While political borders aim to divide, shared ecosystems and foreign policies can successfully restore the function of geography as a connector. Modern global connectivity relies heavily on the sea. The Indian Ocean region handles a significant portion of international trade, with massive tankers and cargo ships passing through narrow choke points like the Strait of Malacca. India manages its role here through the Sagar Doctrine. Short for Security and Growth for All in the region, this policy frames the ocean as a space for collective economic development and regional stability. This partnership is also a matter of safety. When the 2004 tsunami devastated the coast, India's naval proximity allowed it to act as a first responder, providing emergency aid to maritime neighbors like Sri Lanka and the Maldives. The Indian Ocean is a complex space where the need for cooperative disaster management meets the realities of global strategic competition. India remains connected to its neighborhood through an overlapping web of trade routes, shared river systems, and cultural history. But how does geography shape India's future? It creates an environment where a nation's stability and growth rely on the health of the entire neighborhood. Navigating these intersections is a necessary part of participating in an interdependent world.